some wild stuff, man, let me tell you. This is a continuation episode from Ramon Bani. Pain. Fuck you, man. Hey, fuck you, motherfucker. I'd say it how I want to say it. I'll say it. You don't fucking know, do ya? Bitch. Anyways, let's get on to this. This is Ramon Bani in Hispaniola, living with the Taino, writing this shit down in the end of the 15th century. Columbus left them there to write this stuff down to find out about their religion and spirituality and stuff like that. But he found out about their culture, their language, and there's the things that they did. You know, so he wrote it all down. Check it out. We're getting over here now. So, here it is. And this episode might hurt some people's feelings, so it'd be a good idea to get out now. Because if you got really, if you could be hurt so easily, and you're so sensitive, I think it's time to get the fuck out of here, bitch. Right now. Don't subscribe. Don't thumbs up. Just get out. Just go. Go where you belong. In your safe space. It's away from me. Anywhere away from me is a safe space, bitch. Did someone tie you up to a chair, put you in front of a radio or a TV, and you're listening to this episode and you're stuck listening to it? You fucking dumbass bitch. No. You could press stop and get the fuck out. There's tons of other shit to watch on this or listen to, depending on if you're on Spotify or YouTube, wherever you're at, Rumble, whatever, you know. There's so many other places you can go right now. There's so many, you could do so much better with your life than fucking sitting here listening to me. Yeah, I know you got a lot of regrets in your life. I know that. And this is one of them. So I'm advising you right now. Don't waste my time and don't waste yours, okay? This is your time to shine. Get the fuck out. Do something with your life. This channel and this episode is all about history and memoirs, documents from history, from the past. We go over certain books. Sometimes I have a little bit of jokes in between, a little bit of comedy, and sometimes I have stupid-ass references or analogies, right? And every now and then we get these fucking black people that live upstairs banging on the fucking ceiling nonstop. I record this shit at all different times of the day, depending on what day I have free. And different days, different hours of the day, and those motherfuckers are always motherfucking banging. Yeah? The Mexican kid that lives next door to them, he hears them. The white kid that lives underneath them over there, he hears them. Everybody knows. And that motherfucker's inconsiderate, yeah? Now you know what you're going to do about it, bitch. So basically, we're just going to talk about the things that he wrote about, this Bonet guy, right? About the Taino people and the culture. That some books and some like magazines say that these people were extinct, right? Or near extinction. But there's so many millions of them. They're just trying to create some dramaticism, right? They were trying to Howard Zinnia. They were trying to Howard Zinn you. Yeah, you hear the noise in the background. It's a fucking taco truck in the street. Why is a taco truck in the street? I don't know. The neighborhood's changing. It used to be hot dog trucks way back in the day. When are they gonna get fucking pizza truck? That's what I want. So Ramon talked about what these people did with as far as religion and their creation ideas and so on and so forth. And we're gonna talk a little bit about that, what he wrote. So I have a little bit of perspective about who these people are that they're living with. Or they came to, okay? It's a pretty interesting book, right? I mean, all religions are pretty interesting because they're fucking so weird. And people like believe that shit, and you're like, you actually believe that? But like, dude, he's in the sky. He's watching. So watch what you say. Anyways, Ramon Bani said that these Taino people had these spirit idols, right? In their houses. They kept in their houses. And the Taino called these figures semis. And the Taino would come together in ritual and surround themselves around these idols called semis. And the chief would induce vomit. This is what is written. I don't know exactly how it worked out. And he even wrote that sometimes, like, you know, he lost what he wrote and he rewrote it or whatever. But he's like, this is how it was, man, you know. And so they had this drug called jojoba. There's a drug called cohoba that they used as part of their ritual. Everybody was getting fucking high, right? Like an acid high, like tripping out, I'll go further into those particular situations, the use of this stuff. But just imagine someone giving you acid and then telling you that there's a god or an ancestor that lives in one of these stone figures, right? You would probably believe this and freak out and be like, fuck yeah, man. And so whether you have a good or bad trip really depends on where your mind is at during your trip, right? Some people have bad trips, right? But these people were tripping balls, right? And so they had these fucking semis, these little idols, these gods or these ancestors or whatever that lived in these stone dolls, and they would listen to them. We'll get into that in other episodes because I don't want to put it all into one episode. Nobody wants to listen to 3 hours of fucking bullshit, right? Who's got 3 hours of their fucking time to sit around and listen to a goddamn podcast? Who the fuck is going to sit there for 3 hours watching something every day, right? Or every week? I'm going to put all this shit in a playlist. So if you want to watch all the stuff in a playlist, you just press play all, right? That's on YouTube, not on Spotify or Rumble or Patreon or any other platform that I know about. So yeah, all these people, these Taino people would gather together around these semis and with the shaman, and they would be on these drugs. They believe that the spirit is immortal and has no end. And Ramon Panay observed that each semi had its own benefit and superstition. Just like what we call pagan gods now, right? Which back then they were the gods that they believed in. And each god had something different. Like one was for rain, one was for fertility, and one was for war, and another one of the gods or for something else, And so the Taino had something similar to that. I guess they weren't introduced to the Swiss Army knife of gods yet, right? The knife that had a spoon and a can opener connected to it, right? The one god that does everything. But anyways, these nobody could see these ghosts, right? That live in these things. But they will get signs from these spirits when they're tripping on that cohoba drug. Go figure. I think a lot of early Christianity also took hallucinogenic drugs in the beginning. Mushrooms, to be exact. Well, that is at least what I read a couple years ago in a book called The Sacred Mushroom of the Cross by John Allegro. That's pretty interesting shit. It gets really deep, and like, if you're not really interested in it, like you could, end up reading it for like a long time, and then you're like, wait, what did I just read? It's so fucking in-depth and boring. But anyways, but they did shit like that. I mean, there's an idea that they did, but there's lots of people that did shit like that, right? In northern part of America, the Apache took peyote, right, to reach a spiritual world, like in that movie Young Guns, right? We're in the spirit world, asshole. They can't see us. I like how Allegro theorizes or uses some of the type of analogy or metaphor to state that the sky is a male object who ejaculates its energy from the sun and the rain down to the womb of the earth to impregnate it and create life. He suggested that this is in reference to the creation or ideas that helped create religions. So did the Taino form religions by using these same ideas? It's pretty interesting. Like I did that episode about human nature, Fucking humans pretty much do the same shit, right, to some degree. They say that when you take acid or mushrooms or trip out on something, that you learn about yourself and you get some kind of deeper insight, and you come out, with further insight. I know people that tripped a lot in their life, and there's some stupid motherfuckers that I kind of don't want to talk to. There's some piece of shit people. But then again, I know some other people that tripped on acid and shrooms and all that, and they're pretty cool people. So what I'm getting at is, can you believe somebody just because they were tripping out? It's like, hey, we took this cohoba drug and we seen some shit, so believe us. Or was it all part of a scam? Like like that date rape drug. They're basically raping your belief system, right? Like putting a drug in your drink and then telling you some bullshit until you come out of it and then you start thinking like them, right? They're raping your mind, yeah? Forcing themselves upon you until you just accept it. And then you start terrorizing people in the same manner. It's just an assumption. Anyways, let's move on. The Taino people are under a bigger sect of people called the Arawak. Kind of like to say in the Spanish or European. Something like that, you know. There's even sects of people under the Taino people. But Ramon talks about where these people originally came from. And this is interesting shit here. We know in modern times that every group of people in the Americas was originally from Asia. Well, we know that nowadays. And came to the America via the Bering Strait, right? Beringia. But Panay says that they came from that they told him that they came from a cave in a mountain called Cauta. That is in a place called Quanao. That is in a region in Hispaniola, which is today Haiti and Dominican Republic. Which, from what I gather in Ramon Panay's book, that the whole land was called Haiti by the natives. And then the Spanish called it Hispaniola. No, it wasn't an Indian name. Hispaniola didn't come from the Indians. It came from the Spaniards. And one of these caves that the people were from was called Casibahagua. Casibahagua, right? And the other cave was called Amayuna. Amayona. And there's a story that these Taino had from the early days that they was passed down to their generations. You know how people do. They say, yeah, we don't need to write shit down because we pass it down so we know what the fuck going on. Remember, I had an episode about that. So this is what they passed down, they told Ramon Panay. When they were living in these caves, they appointed a guard to keep a lookout for dangers. His name was Macucael. And he was stolen by the sun because he couldn't go back to the door of the cave quick enough when he was out keeping watch. So the story goes. His lack of vigilance stole this man from the crowd of people he was with. He was stolen by the sun. It makes me wonder why this man had to look out for dangers prior to the Europeans arriving. It's kind of like, what was he looking for? Like, what harm did they have at that time besides each other, right? And the Carib, right? In later text, Panay mentions that the Macucael guy kept watch at the foot of the cave to learn about where to distribute his people. But why the fuck? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Why would this guy be looking out to distribute people in the middle of the night? He's like, I'm going to keep a lookout at night, go to sleep. I'm going to keep a lookout and find out where I could send you all tomorrow. It's like, what? Doesn't make sense. But anyways, even if the story even fucking happened, right? Obviously, in this story or the myth, whatever you want to call it, were these guys at war with the fucking sun or nature? It's kind of crazy shit. Do modern people know this kind of shit when they try to revisit the ancient ideas of shamanism, on those islands? Now, they probably skip that part, don't they? Doesn't make a lot of sense to, skip it. Or rewrite it. This is what he really meant. Remember when the Muslim people were trying to redefine jihad? The leftists, they were like, yeah, that's not what it means. It means a nice thing. So anyways, this man was stolen by the sun, and then they closed the door on this guy, not to re-enter. And because of this, somehow, this guy was turned to stone. So the group came outside to witness one of their people turned into a rock or to stone. Later days happened, and when people of that group went out to go fishing, the sun turned on them and turned them into trees, in which we call plum trees. And they called hobos back then. I don't know if maybe it's Jobos, Jobos back then. So that's what they called it back then, Jobos. So people are getting turned into fucking rocks and fucking trees back then. So I don't know if this explains, why they talk to trees and rocks and they think the spirits are in the rocks for all of Americas. It's interesting, though. They have a lot of fucking interesting stories. And there's another story, another myth or another belief of the Taino people that Ramon Panay learned about, that they talked about a man named Guahayona. And this Guahayona told another man named Yahubaba to go fetch a plant called digo. Now this digo plant is what the Taino used to bathe themselves with. And I guess they apparently did things at night, right? That's how the stories go. Because just before sunlight, the Indian didn't get back in time with the soap, and the sun turned this guy into a bird. And the bird that sings in the morning, they wrote, right? And the bird was called Yahu Baba Yael. Yeah. So this is the stuff he's writing down. He's learning from the people as they're telling him. Senor Ramon Panay was learning their language and learning their culture and all this. And so they told him these things and he wrote it down. That's what we got. And pretty interesting shit, how they're coming up with all these stories, right? And there's some more about this Guahayona guy. This Guahayona told all the women in the cave to go with him somewhere else to find maybe some kind of safety, to where they would arrive at a place they called Taino. He told the women to leave their husbands and children and to take a plant called gallo with them. And what were they going to do with this fucking plant instead of taking their children with, that they left next to a stream of water? Weird shit, weird stories. Anyways, this guy left these women at Taino and went alone to a place called Guanin. And in the meantime, the children began to yell and cry because they were left starving since their mothers left them. I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but somehow the children or women became frogs, which were called dona. And Panay concludes that this description with this being how the men were left without the women. So I don't know what happened to the children. If the women turned into frogs, that's what's written, you know. You could perceive it however you like. And, you know, anybody could fucking make up whatever perception they want of those words. But that's what is written. So, anyway. So, Jesus is a mushroom. And the Taino people were turned into trees and frogs. I guess the Muhammad talking to a ghost in the cave isn't so unbelievable anymore, is it? Makes more sense than a burning bush or walking on water, does it? Man, those people must have fucking loved psychedelic drugs. And those fucking people are banging on the ceiling still. They never sit down. I think I'm going to order a sausage pizza here in about a few minutes, as soon as I press fucking end on this motherfucking episode. Anyways, some women were put back on the island of Hispaniola, which was originally called Haiti, like I said. It was called Haiti by those group of people, Taino. And the other island was called Bojio. And Panay then describes again how the natives only told what they remembered from what they heard from their ancestors. And the Taino didn't write anything down because they had no writing system. So Ramon was the first author in that area of America because these people didn't write anything, according to him. So anyways, back to the Taino beliefs. So this Guahayona guy was a liar and a deceiver. So here's another myth or belief of the Taino people that is said that this guy, he tricked all the women to go with him. A typical fucking guy, isn't it? He also took the wives of the caziques, right? The chiefs. And one of this chief's wife's name was Anakaikuya. And he also took the brother-in-law with him on this trip. And they dropped off the women off in this one place. When they dropped off the women, he had this brother-in-law with him, and Guahayona pointed to something in the sea to distract his brother-in-law, who was in the canoe with him. And while his brother-in-law was distracted, he grabbed him by the legs and threw him in the fucking ocean to fucking get rid of him, so that this guy could have all the women for himself. That's what is written. That's what their belief was, right? That was their description of the whole Taino being filled solely with women. And I don't know at what point of reference that was, because Columbus did come to places where there was only women on the island. And after all this, Guahayona left one of the women behind that gave him great pleasure, it was written. What did that mean? She gave good blowjobs? What? She cooked well for him? Maybe she was smart and funny. and he loved her, right? So anyways, he went to her and he got some sores all over himself. And the woman's name was Guabonito. That was her name. Well, that's what Ramon Pane heard, and he wrote that as that. And she, this broad took him to this place to recover after he had all the sores. And when he recovered, he was like, "All right, bitch, I'm off." Actually, it said that he asked her for some permission. She's like, "Yeah, you can leave," and he left her behind. And then for some reason, Guajayona guy then changed his name to Albi Boreal Guajariel. And then he received some other names which came down to being referred to as Guanin, which was the name of that place that he went to, or named after, right? Did the drugs influence all these stories of religion and creation? Is it fair to be skeptical of anyone that practices or believes in any of these myths? A guy in the sky or people who become trees, right? Where do rational people draw the line for this shit? I mean, in order to be good people and have good morals, do you have to believe in some kind of myth or religion? Do we really need it? I don't know, it's just a curious question. In order to be good people, do we have to believe in the spirit world or take jojoba or acid or mushrooms or smoke some pot? It sounds a little absurd to me, but to each his own, right? To each their own, right? But these Taino people even had beliefs about gender-neutral people, right? Or genderless people with no gender. Or actually a story about humans that were neither male or female. So yes, this part of the episode will be loved by the left-wing radical folks. This will put a smile on some of your faces, and the others will just throw up. Hey, motherfucker. Is that your face, or did your neck throw up, bitch? Anyways. Some random day, according to Taino folklore, right? They won't teach this in the schools. Some random day, the men were out bathing in some water somewhere. They typically looked out around the area to find footprints of women so they could find what they longed for. They needed women, right? Men need women. Not just to have children, but for sex and fun, right? Yes, they were looking for women and not men who identified as women. I know some of you found a little bit of sorrow in this fucking sentence. Anyways, some rainy day, while these guys were bathing, they saw in the distance some people that fell from the trees. Some shit like that. So the story goes. If you want the fucking book, go get it. If you want the memoirs, go get it, all right? Read it for your fucking self, all right? So they ran to see these people. But the genderless people, got away. And they wrote that they slithered away like eels. Why the fuck would Ramon Pane write that? Why the fuck would he write eels? How do women or genderless people slither away like eels? Okay, so they noticed that the people didn't have a vagina nor a penis. So they were neither male or female. And they sent a search party of specialized people, Taino people, to capture these non-gender folks, right? And when they captured these 4 people, they took them to a meeting place in the Taino lands to research and find out how to make these non-gender people turn them into women, since they needed women in the area. Sex change. Sex change in early America. Here we come. Y'all fucking proud. I wonder if it was paid for by the government. It was paid for by Mother Nature. Here goes. So the story goes, the Taino story, or Taino fucking legend, Taino religion, or Taino belief system. The story goes that they took these genderless people and tied them up to stand unmovable, like a tree, I guess. Then they took a woodpecker and tied it to these genderless people. Then the woodpecker made a hole between the legs of these women, creating a vagina. And so now that's how the story of how they created Taino women in the world. Fuck. Would you want to stick your dick in that? Man, no. But this is what Ramon Pane wrote down, and this is what they told him, and this is what they believed. Why would he make this shit up? This is what we got, and these are like some of the only notes that we reference to. I mean, besides what Columbus wrote, right? and a few others later, right? There's a lot more of this stuff that we're going to go over through episodes, because we're not going to put it all into one, because, nobody's going to sit there for fucking 3 hours. I guess unless you're playing video games. I don't know how to play video games, so I have no idea how much time we could sit in front of a computer screen. I got a $400 pair of Sony earbuds that I listen to my audiobooks and podcast on. So maybe somebody's out walking in nature listening to this. So you know what? If you walk for an hour, and if this is only 30 minutes long, listen to this episode twice, and it'll fill that time. If you don't like it, you know what you could do. Go fuck yourself. And before any of you dumb bitches comment, if you're still listening, probably not. If any of these dumb bitches comment, just pick up the book, pick up the memoirs, research those, and then fucking comment on them, right? And be like, this is the way I perceive it. I mean, I'm pretty much word for word. So, I don't know. Don't be saying dumb shit like, shit that doesn't make sense, right? To the memoirs. There's a lot of cunts out there like Howard Zinn. And then people after him, millions of people after him. I even went to college and I met some of those teachers and the teachers that read those books of those fucking piece of shit people that fucking lied to people, that lied to all these young people in school and taught them some bullshit. It's really uncalled for, Life doesn't have to be a competition, right? My side against your side. Does it, bitch? Can't you just tell a fucking history the way it is, you cunt? Does it always have to be just one side or the other side? So I'm going to continue this Taino, Ramon Panay writings and stuff in different episodes, other episodes after this one. Stay tuned. Subscribe for it. I was uploading to Spotify for a while, but the host I was using, they shut down. So like for some reason I can't get into that account anymore to upload. I don't know why. I'm gonna try to figure it out. But as far as Rumble and Patreon, and that's all I can think of right now, and Spotify, you could subscribe to all those platforms, would you? And Twitter, right? I got a Twitter account too, or X account. I seen Elon Musk the other day ask everybody if X was a good name. I think Ann Coulter said no, and a lot of other people said no. They like Twitter, and everybody still refers to X as Twitter. Elon Musk hates him for it. But I'm on there. I'm on there so I could search for answers, right? I'm not on there so much to create noise. I'm more just to find answers and to promote my stuff, but which doesn't get a lot of traction on there. But if I do get kicked off of one of these platforms, if you subscribe to Spotify or Rumble or Patreon or X, you could see if I get banned from one, then you could refer to one of those and be like, he didn't disappear on his own. He was kicked off, you could see that. Then you could support me on one of those platforms, right? If you like this channel, but I'm hoping that you don't. I'm trying my hardest for you to unsubscribe. I'm trying my hardest to get negative views. I'm trying my hardest to get negative subscribers. I got a bunch of angry and negative subscribers. So go subscribe to all those platforms. So just in case, right? Just in case I get kicked off of one or the other. There was some shit I did back in the day where when I uploaded to, I think, to the Spotify platform, I think it uploaded to other platforms as well, and I don't remember the name of them. I think Twitch was one of them and some other fucking weird places. So I'm probably on other platforms as well. I mean, when I had music videos, when I played guitar like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever, and I was uploading to certain channels, like I would find my videos like in like some weird fucking places, like some places where I didn't even know what language it was. It wasn't even Spanish or anything I could like translate. I was like, what the fuck? So like, yeah, they'll put your shit, like they'll share your stuff without even telling you. So anyway, subscribe here and there, and search for me on all these weird platforms if that's what you choose, or Tell me which one you prefer. And if you don't like this shit, you could send it to your fucking enemies because they will hate you for this. A good way to get me canceled and banned is to send this to all your leftist friends. Send it to the cancer of human civilization, right? Send it to those people that want to fucking cut my tongue out, right? I ask you this as a favor. What have any of you bitches done for me? And look at all that I have taught you through all these episodes. None of you cunts knew this shit. Maybe one or two knew a little bit about this or that. And some of you bitches think you know. You think you do, don't you? Anyway, stay tuned for the next episode. Subscribe to this bitch. Subscribe to all the other platforms just in case I get banned from this one or that one or that one or this one. And all the little cunts out there, you could fucking research this shit and fact check me, please. I want everybody to fact check me. Everybody. Just go do it, would you? Even the little cunts, right? Even the little bitches, right? The little terrorists, right? Social terrorists, domestic terrorists of thought, right? Share this with your friends and your enemies, and they hate you for it. Like, go fuck yourself. Adios.